Technician, huh?
Okay, this is Al Ketchum speaking, and Dorme and I are going to make a documentary about Vern, our dad. And what we're going to do is just chat with him to find out about the family and where he came from and all that. You know, we can just forget that. Then we're chatting.
Soon.
Yeah. Oh, I got to take the date off. So, I understand you were born in Scranton?
Yes, Grand PA.
Well, I thought there was relatives in Pittston, but that's not where you live.
I didn't live there, never.
You know, were you born in the hospital or house? Do you know?
House.
Yeah, most people were back then, I guess.
Well, yeah, they didn't have any hospitals.
Yeah.
No, I was down to Montrose just the other day, and the courthouse is such beautiful right up in the hill there.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to go down there in the summer. On the 4th of July, they have a nice doings down
They
there.
do.
Yeah, big parade. And
Quite a nice little town.
now, you just had 2 brothers, right?
Yeah, Joe and Merv.
Now, who was baby Loretta? Was that?
She was a sister. She
Sister
died
that-
first year and a half or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was she older than you or younger?
Ooh, she was younger.
So you were the oldest?
I must have been 11, 12 years old. Yeah. Something like that. These things kind of fade away from you when you're not with them all the time.
Yeah.
Now, you spent high school, though, in Johnson City.
Johnson City.
All 4 years.
Yeah.
Of course, your big thing was football, right?
Well, it sort of was.
Yeah.
I was captain of the football team.
And didn't you get your letter for 4 straight years?
Four straight years. Up until that time, I was the only one, but then since then, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some that lettered, but you had, weren't you all Southern tier or something?
Oh, yeah. I got awarded my white one. That was a special award. And, but the one with the 4 stripes on, that was strictly for football. Yeah.
Now, your mother's name was Loretta, right?
Loretta, yeah.
And what was her maiden name?
Foster. It's not spelled, the real way to spell it, I guess, is Forster. It was always pronounced Foster, but I don't think that's the correct pronunciation.
Maybe that was the European spelling or something, you know, when you were in Europe.
Well, that could have been, yeah.
Oh, Dorme's got your sweaters.
Yeah, there they are.
How many, let's get those on camera.
I was gonna take them over to him.
These are not your ordinary sweaters.
Not really.
The white one. Okay, that one there is knitted. The Johnson JC is knitted right into the material, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a special award.
And this one was for your 4
4
years, right?
yeah. Yeah,
That you played in the what, 1920s?
27, 28, 29. Yeah.
Maybe
26.
26 too.
27, 28,
Yeah.
29. Yep.
Quite the sweaters.
Yeah, they probably would fall apart if I start wearing them, but I've always taken care of them. You know, I got that
Yeah,
special room up there, and I hang them in that.
they're nice to have.
Yeah. At the time, I was, I was kind of proud of them, but that wears off.
Yeah. Well, still, you still got to be proud of them.
Yeah. Then I was on the track team, of course. I ran the hurdles. I won the Southern Tier Championship in 27. That didn't mean nothing except just some extra.
Well, gosh, I guess.
You know that woman that's creeping on the floor?
Now, where was your father born? Do you have any idea?
Scranton.
Scranton also?
Yeah.
So he was, that was Vernon Senior.
Senior, yeah.
Was he also Vernon Stewart?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Yeah, that's how our mother used to call me, Bernie S.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Bernie S. And I don't know whether that's the time she was mad at me or just, yeah.
Now, why did your father move to Johnson City?
Well, he worked in a restaurant. He was a short order in a restaurant. And Abby Chester come up here. And he called back down, or wrote back down, to come up quick that he had a job for him in EJ. In the old Pioneer Factory.
How old
So-
were you then?
I don't even remember it, so I had to be,
Well,
quite young.
before high school must have been, right?
Oh,
You
long
spent-
before high school.
Yeah, so you must have been,
Well, yeah, that's right, because there's that picture of you playing on Grand Avenue when you were just a little boy.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
around somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The picture where the Grand Avenue was a dirt road and you and your brother Joe were out there.
Oh, yeah. We got that around here, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was way back. That was down, taken just up above the caramel factory. They used to make caramels down there. Of course, that's way back.
In Johnson City, that was.
Johnson City, yeah. The Fair Flag caramels.
And now, didn't Mom work there for a while? Back in the war? Or?
Now wait, let me think. No, Mrs. Jones worked back there. That was Carney Jones, his mother. You remember her?
Yeah, I
She was
remember.
a forelady there.
Yeah, I remember seeing her and talking to her.
Yeah, that's Carney's mother. Yeah. Now, Carney's always been sort of part of the family.
Yeah, Carney Jones.
Yeah,
Now, he passed away just last year, I think.
yeah. Something like that.
Well, now who was Grandma Beavers? Who's,
That was my, now let me think a minute again. That was Beavers. Was my grandmother's father.
which grandmother? Your mother's, your father's mother?
Yeah, Dad's mother's mother,
Or so your father's mother's name was Beavers.
Beavers. Yeah.
Because some of the old furniture you have around here, I thought was a rocking chair of Grandma Beavers.
Yeah, that used to be around there. Yeah,
And she lived in Scranton.
Scranton.
And who worked on the railroad in Scranton?
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Your
Ketchum.
dad?
Yeah, no, my dad's dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then he wound up working in the freight yard. You know, just as you get older.
Well, you told me somebody worked on the canals. Was that?
Oh, that was Grandpa's father. That's how he come to move to Scranton. Canal closed, and what was they to do? So Grandpa Ketchum took his family and loaded them in a buckboard, you know, a long wagon, and brought them to Scranton.
From where?
From up by Oxford's
In New York.
in New York.
So they were from New York and then they
Yeah.
went to Scranton.
Now that was, I think they called it Smithville Flats.
Yeah, I heard you mention
Yeah.
Smithville Flats.
Yeah. So that's covering a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grandpa worked on the canal and they closed it. So he took the family and away they went.
Your father's father.
My father's father. Yeah.
Now, let's see, Merv is quite a bit younger than you, right? 10, 12?
Oh, 10 years, 10, 11 years.
And your brother Joe is,
20 months.
oh, okay, pretty
Yeah,
close.
pretty close.
So Merv was probably born up here then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now Merv was probably born in Wilson. Yeah. I'm quite sure he was.
And you spent a lot of years working for EJ, right, the shoe company?
30. Yeah. 30.
Now, I remember you telling you used to have some pretty tough jobs in there in the rubber mill.
Oh, yeah. I remember them.
What did they do in the rubber mill?
Well, you had molds, big molds. You put a couple dozen heels in them, and or sold, whichever he was working on, and at a high temperature. So in the summertime, it was a little rough, hot.
Stink?
Well, that went with it. You get used to the stink. Yeah, you get used to that.
How
Well, I
many-
got on golf ball covers one time. That was a cinch because it was a cold press. And I was on golf ball covers. EJ used to make a lot of golf balls.
I didn't remember that, although it seems like, again, I relate it to my mother, you know.
Yeah.
Somehow, you or her used to get a hold of some golf balls.
Oh, we always had a lot of golf balls.
We used to like to cut them open and watch the rubber bands jump all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah.
Because the center of them were the, you know, this.
They were all rubber bands.
Yeah. I don't even know if they make them that way today.
I don't either. I imagine they do.
Now, when did you start in EJ? Probably right after high school? Or did you do something else first?
All right, let me think about it. Yeah, I'd say right after high school.
But you had a few jobs where you dug ditch, I think.
Well, there was no work in EJ, and they had a job digging ditch, so that's where I was wound up. Down the waterworks in Endicott. We get paid by the foot, 25 cents a foot. The foreman would measure you out 10 feet, and he had a T, which was 5.5 foot high with a T come across, and you had to dig it till that T hit both sides.
Is that right?
And they used to, sometimes a little more than that,
Make you go deeper?
deeper, you know, and you'd squawk, but you done it.
How deep did you have to go, do you recall?
5.5 feet. That's where we used to try to cheat a little bit. You know, wouldn't be quite there. And the deeper you go, the harder it gets. You get down that hard pan, boy, and it's tough going.
And 25 cents for a foot.
For a
That's
foot.
That's a lot of digging.
A lot of digging. You could dig 25 feet in any one day, but that wasn't enough. You know, that was only 250. So sometimes you'd push pretty hard and you'd dig one in a day. It all depends what kind. If you get in the gravel ground, the ditch would be A wide, but you'd be down to 5.5 feet in a hurry. Yeah, reasonably hurry. Yeah. I can just picture our foreman today yet. He'd come around and he was always trying to cheat a little. You didn't want to dig an inch more than you had to. Yeah. I'll never forget those days. They were tough.
When you got into the factory work, what kind of a pay did you get there? per
Oh, I
week?
used to make about $5 a day.
A day?
Yeah, I could do any job in the room. Yeah.
What was the normal number of hours that you worked there a week?
48. We worked half day Saturday them days. Yeah.
But did you get paid by the hour, or how much?
Well, we got paid by the hour when you fill the ditch back in, and we got 40 cents an hour. That's it.
Well, it did, but what about shoes? Didn't you used to, I remember when I was a kid, you used to bring home these rolls of little coupons or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to bring home a roll like that.
And that's how they paid you?
Yeah. 5.5 cents a coupon.
So you just, the more work you did, the more pay you got.
Yeah.
Faster you
Strictly
worked.
piecework. Yeah.
Piecework is where you get paid by how much,
How much you
many
do.
shoes you put
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Well, I was quite fast, so I used to sell to some of the slower men at the end of the week, sell them a few coupons, you know, like $5 worth for $2 or something like that. But then some guys, it's just plain lazy. And if you was lazy at piecework, It didn't pay. No, you didn't make nothing. But I could heel seat, thread last, pull over, side last. I could do any of them, so I got kind of independent there towards the end. You know, you get the upper hand a little bit. But you still had to move.
Well, even in the beginning when you went there and the pay, wasn't really good, did they always have good medical benefits?
Yeah, I'll have to say that. They had good ones. Good medical benefits.
I wasn't sure if they always had them or if they came later.
Well, no, they had them right from the beginning, beginning. Yeah.
And the kids used to get free shoes at Christmas
Oh,
or for
always.
school or something?
Always. And we'd bring home high cuts. You could get a George F. Johnson shoe for $6.50. You get a pair of high cuts for probably $3. But we was always told to get the George F. Johnson shoe. But 2 or 3 of us go over together and we'd come home and we'd bring high cuts.
Oh, well, that's before, when you were a kid. you mean.
Yeah.
So your father worked there for a lot of years then too.
Well, I think Grandpa worked there, oh yeah, more than 30 years. Yeah. He was a molder. They had this big press come down like this. And the only way he could make decent money was to keep it going. And he'd slide his hand in, pull these soles out and down.
Wow. Had to watch your timing. Huh?
Yeah. Grandpa was good at it. Yeah. Now, Uncle Gus was a treer. They cleaned the shoes up after they got all through.
What do they call them? A tree?
Treer. Yeah.
Now, Uncle Gus, that would be...
My mother's brother.
Oh, okay.
He was quite a guy.
Did he used to live up Oakdale Road?
Up on the farm.
Yeah.
That was his farm.
That must be a mile from here at your house?
Mile and a half, maybe 2 miles maybe. Yeah. And along that lower part of his farm, we built about 4 houses there. I say we did because I was in them all of it. Uncle Gus was no carpenter. He was a good butcher. Slam, bang, boom.
Now, when I was a kid, I remember a lot of excitement in the kitchen, and I think Uncle Gus came in and saying he had seen a bobcat or something up there, and they were trying to shoot him. A wildcat or a bobcat?
Bobcat. Yeah, I remember that.
You know if they ever killed any of them?
Yes, they killed them, but not from right around here. They've got a stuffed bobcat in a restaurant up to, I think it's Lyle. And it's a monstrous cat, big feet and teeth. The fangs come down there.
No.
It's a good one.
You know, where your house sits here now on Overbrook Road, when I was a kid, we used to have the pony over here and some chickens.
Yeah.
And I remember on the pony, we used to use an old army saddle. Now, I thought that came from Uncle Gus.
It did.
Was he in the cavalry?
Well, I don't know, but anything you could carry, he had.
Oh, he may not have been in the cavalry, but he had a cavalry saddle.
Yeah, he was quite a guy. He wasn't exactly dishonest, but if he could carry it, he'd take it. Oh yeah, he's a great Gus.
Now that reminds me of Uncle Louis White's.
Oh, Louis, he's quite a character.
You know, and he lived in Scranton. What?
Pittston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What relation was he to you?
He was my uncle. He married my Aunt Minnie, which was Grandpa's sister.
Oh, okay.
Your father's sister.
Yeah. We'd sit out on the front porch in the good weather, and Grandma and Aunt Minnie liked to talk about him. They'd only be 15 feet away, down in them, oh, damn good, and this and that. I'd sit out there on the porch with Uncle Louie and we'd go.
So Aunt Minnie was the blood relative.
Yeah, she was the blood. She was Grandpa's sister. Yeah,
Was she the first baby that slept in the cradle that you know of?
I think so. I almost know so. But,
Now, then how was, well, you know, Unc, you referred to Unc, Mervyn F. Ketchum.
yeah,
He was Grandpa's brother, right?
brother, yeah.
Okay, he was crippled most of his life.
Oh, yeah, he got muscular dystrophy or atrophy. It was very slow. And my Grandpa Foster was a very observing man, evidently, because we were down Scranton one time. We was over the main section, Unc and I, and we had one chance to meet in. We met Grandpa Foster. That's before he moved up here. And we got back home a week or 2 or 3 later, and he said to me, he says, Vern, your uncle, has he got any problems? I said, no. But he says, you know, he walks kind of different than most people. He started to flap his feet, loss of control. Grandpa noticed that when he was cleaned down his family.
So, I remember we used to go down to visit Uncle Louie and Aunt Minnie, and you know, usually in the summer. And I always remembered that he'd insist on us bringing back a big chunk of coal, must weigh 50 pounds.
Yeah, if you burned that this winter.
Yeah, we used to.
You remember Melvin's tennis court?
Yeah, it was clay.
He
Wasn't it?
took that clay from there's a big hill in back, by the wheelbarrow load, and hauled it down there, and they got it done.
Yeah, he
Yep.
worked at the cemetery there, didn't he? for
Yeah,
years?
he dug the graves. If there was one to dig, he was the official ground digger.
Well, Melvin had a little problem. Didn't
He had a problem. He used to get you'd be walking around with him like over Main Street, and you're walking side by side, and all of a sudden, bang, down he goes. Well, he'd be out for maybe a minute, and then he'd be all right. But afterwards, he was like stunned for who knows, maybe an hour or so. He worked something fierce. He was an awful worker. He never worked in a shoe shop or anything like that, though.
Yeah.
What did he do at the cemetery? Just
Dig
take care
graves
of-
when there was one to dig.
Oh, dig them by hand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he was pretty rugged, I remember, because I watched him work on the tennis court there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was like nails. Yeah, it was as tough as nails. Good-hearted. He'd give you the shirt off his back. And you wouldn't have to be a relative either. Yeah.
Now, he died a number of years ago, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He fell down a flight of stairs and died right afterwards. Yeah.
At his house?
No, not at his house, but a neighbor's house.
Okay. He lived on Rock Street.
Rock Street. And we used to call that Hughestown. Rock Street and Hughestown.
And Carl was in the family there on Rock Street.
Oh, yeah, Carl was Melvin's brother, younger brother.
I remember Carl. He used to come down to visit.
We all remember Carl.
He was a lot of fun. He used to come. I remember he had a convertible with a rumble seat.
Yeah.
A little car, and you could sit in the back in the rumble seat.
Yeah. I had one of those in later years.
Did you?
Yeah. Top come down, and it would cover the back seat. But your back seat was only about so wide. At least, whether I had a Ford.
In his family, I remember when I was a kid, we lived across the street here, and Grandma and Grandpa Ketchum lived across the driveway right next door.
Oh, yeah.
And Unc lived there for many years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for a while, my great-grandmother lived there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe a couple of years. Yeah. See, Grandpa died suddenly, kind of young, not really young, but I think Grandpa was 69.
No, I thought 62.
62. So, well, maybe you're right.
You mean your dad?
Oh, no, my dad's dad.
Oh, okay.
My
your
grandfather.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty old for those days, 69.
Oh, yeah, your grandpa was 60. He fell over up in this field. The kid
Yeah.
started a fire up there. Dad got all excited, tried to run. Down he went. And you know, that was funny, but that particular day, you know Bill Grace, he was,
Fire department?
yeah, he was chief of the fire department. And he had me go with him that day to look at some damage, get an estimate. He had to give approximate damage of what happened. So I went with him. We just came back, and we was on the way on Main Street, and the fire trucks come up here, and you know, there's commotion. So I said to Bill, well, do you mind running up, see what's going on? So I come up here, and Bill immediately got out of the car, and he knew how, and he worked over Grandpa. And after about 20 minutes, he turned around, and there's no use. So we had the best of care when it happened.
Yeah.
Professional there.
Well, I'll never forget, I saw him laying there in the field. In fact, I think I was one of the first to see him, you know, he fell down, had a heart attack right there.
Right there. Never got up.
They took him into the house there.
Oh, Harders,
Harders.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, going back to the Grandpa's mother and Unc's mother that lived in the house over there beside us. I can't remember her name. Do you remember?
Oh, Grandma and Grandpa's
Yeah.
maiden name? Well, Grandma was a Beavers. She was,
Yeah, that was your mother.
yeah.
No,
No.
his mother was Loretta Foster.
Okay, Foster,
Yeah.
right. What was the first name of Grandma Ketchum, or great-grandma Ketchum to me, that lived with your mother and dad next door?
Beaver,
Remember her first name?
Elizabeth,
Oh, see, I never,
yeah. Now,
So her name was Elizabeth Ketchum.
yeah.
yeah, that's right,
How about that?
yeah.
I think there's a picture around with that name, Elizabeth.
Should be, should be. See, Grandma was a Foster.
Your mother.
Yeah, my
Right.
mother was a Foster. It wasn't spelled like we'd spell it, but it was Forster.
I never heard that before, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, you got into the building business after World War II, right?
Oh, yeah.
How in the world did you ever think to get into that?
Well, when I was in high school, I took shop, and I did learn a little, you know, darn little. But then when you need the dollar, we used to mix concrete like from scratch.
Oh, I know.
Bob was in on that.
I was in on that
You was in on that
for
too?
years.
Well, everybody, you probably worked for 25 cents a dollar.
Well, I can't remember, it seemed like
But,
they used to give us $1 an hour. Now
but,
it's in the 50s.
Yeah. Everyone is willing to work Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't have no problem getting someone to work on Saturdays.
Everybody needed that extra job.
That extra dollar. Yeah.
Well, were the first houses you built, the two that you lived on in Nelson Road, you lived in one and your parents lived in the other?
Oh, we across the street over there.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Those were the first houses you built.
Yeah. First, I built one for me. Well, I didn't really get it all built. Howard Chandler helped me, and he was a friend of Dad's. He's the reason that Dad got up from Scranton. So we were digging the cellar by hand, had it pretty near dug.
Just with pick and shovel?
Yeah, by hand. Yeah. The front wasn't bad, all softer, but when you got to the back, you had about 5 foot plus about 2 foot of hard pan, and you'd think it was never going to get finished. So Dad said to me, he said, "Boy, he'd like to live up here." Well, I said, "Keep your pick ready." So then we went to work on his.
Well, it seemed like, did you use a scoop at all with a horse? Or was that some other place?
We tried to scoop, and a tractor. And that was fair, but she was forever having trouble. Wasn't with a scoop, was with a tractor. But we done a lot of digging, that helped. But most of it by hand.
It must be after the war then you realized there'd be thousands of people needing homes that come home from the war.
Well, see, the thing is, when we first started, you couldn't buy no material. Now, Mrs. Swikedike up on the main road, if she knew of a place down in Tunkhannock that we could get plasterboard. Well, so she took me down there, and how was that now? Oh, I got the rock lath all right, but for every foot of rock lath, I had to buy a foot of sheeting board. So it wasn't that I could use the sheeting board by making the windows and all just right, but the money, I had to, every time I spent so much money, I'd have to sheetrock it. So the Grandpa's house was sheetrocked. This one wasn't, yeah, this was sheetrocked too. Yeah, which didn't do no harm, but tied up your money.
Do you remember the name of the place where you had to go in Tunkhannock?
Now let me think, I should. It was right in town.
I was just wondering, because my cousins had a place down there. Their name was Brunges, whether that was what they called, that's probably what they called it.
It couldn't have had to be the same place. You know, in them days you didn't have 2 or 3 lumber companies in one town.
I'm going to stop this a minute.
I never let anything stop me. When I wanted to do something, I done it one way or the other. Right or wrong.
Well, the first house you built to sell, did you have somebody, I mean, just built it and then you sold it? Or
Yeah.
was it built for somebody?
I built it, and they sold fast.
Mhm.
You know, the price was right.
Right. Where was the very first
Oh,
one?
now wait a minute. Well, I built one for Uncle Joe first, and then I built one next door, and
They were on Overbrook Road on the
Overbrook
other
Road.
side of the creek.
I think that was for the Briggs. Remember them?
No.
Francis Briggs?
The name, I think I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. He dug his cellar by hand, too.
Do you remember about what they cost?
3,500 rings a bell with me. Not 35,000.
Yeah.
3,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Briggs. Maybe we should talk about your wife and my mother. You must have met Mom in high school, probably.
Oh, yeah. She had just gotten a job in Jigger. And she was worked on sneakers.
She came from a farm life, right? In
Originally.
what's the name of that town?
Unadilla.
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 Right.
I'd like to know where that is, but
Carol Tabor knows where it is. We can maybe go up there this
I don't
summer.
think she does, but if she
Yeah,
does.
She says she does.
She does? Yeah. I'd like to see it.
Okay, we'll go up this
Yeah.
summer.
Take a ride up there.
Now, Mom was one of 11 children, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's where I think of Briggs now, wasn't? One of her sisters was Mary.
Mary.
And
Luella,
Luella.
Florence, Agnes, there was Catherine.
There was one that died quite young.
Yeah, that would be,
I've seen her picture.
yeah.
I think we went to the cemetery where the young one was buried in Pennsylvania.
Yep, we did.
Oh, up on the hill there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What part of Pennsylvania was
Down near Nichols or Towanda or somewhere.
Do you remember going up that side hill? The little narrow road?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
about
yeah.
get up it.
More for a horse and a buggy, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be it.
Now, there were brothers of Mom.
The
Uncle
brothers
Laban.
was, there was Clarence and Patty, Lehman,
Watson.
Watson. He was a big man, about 6'4".
Oh,
Gee, you wouldn't think he could forget, you know.
yeah. Well, it was 11 of them. So.
Well, yeah.
Well, we're up to 10 kids now. Oh, counting Mom, 11.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
But we
right.
just can't think of the one's name that died young. I can picture her too.
Yeah, now, well, of course, she was dead when I married Mom. But I remember going up the cemetery, and we used to make our rounds once a year.
Well, Mom's father died when she was only a couple years old. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, she couldn't remember her father.
They were all Smiths.
Yeah.
Because I remember Grandma Smith lived with us in the old house
That's right.
for several years before
Yeah.
she died.
And Elaine, your mother, had a tough life. You know, she was shoved from one to the other. It made it nasty. Yeah, and she never forgot it either.
Well, I imagine it would be tough because Grandma Smith never remarried, right?
No.
So she, had 11 kids, which was incredible back in those days.
Yeah, on their own.
You're talking the early 1900s.
Yeah.
There was
Well, See, I was born in 1911, so you can figure from that.
in those days there was no government funds, no matter what your situation.
Oh, no, no. What
There
you made, you made. If you didn't make nothing, you didn't get anything.
was no disability or
Social
Nothing like
Security.
that.
Social Security, no
Yeah.
unemployment insurance.
Yeah. By the way, I got my Social Security just the other day again.
Oh, yeah.
$560 some.
That's easy money.
It's like a gift, you know?
Well, you put in a lot into it while you were working.
Well, I'll never forget the first day. They took out of our pay 50 cents, 60 cents. Everybody in the room, oh, they were shook up. Of course, them days, $20 was a good week's pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a good day's pay now.
No? Uncle Gus was quite a guy. Well, he used to take his duplicates, which were paid for doing odd jobs, and Uncle Gus would take like $6 and change it to 16. He was quite a,
EJ?
yeah, EJ. Well, they got it all over the factory that I and Gus were making coupons. Well, Gus was making them, but I wasn't. Jeez. So I heard this all come from Arlene, she worked over there, that I was making coupons. That's where she hardly knew me. And that wasn't so.
I imagine that Mom, she always did appreciate everything, probably because she didn't have anything when she was
Didn't have nothing when she was living.
probably no Christmas much to speak of. I
No,
wouldn't think.
nothing. No. So when we got married, she made the most of it. Yeah. Not that I had a lot of money, but I worked piecework in EJ, and I worked hard. Fast. I was fast. I learned how to, Bill Leffner, you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, Bill was faster than I was. He was younger, and he was fast with his hands. And he could beat me. And that used to bother me. So then I got practice, and unbeknownst to him, of putting these soles on without looking at them. Well, then I was beating the hell out of him, you know. How do you do it? Well, the trick to it, I take my little finger and get the distance behind, and I take my hand and put around the toe. And eventually I got so I could pick him up and put him on. He was going crazy.
How you doing?
Bill Lester, yeah, he was quite a guy. Fast, tough. Yeah. George Who's another one too? George Van Grayson.
Oh, yeah, I worked with him on your houses.
Yeah.
You know, Saturdays.
George was a little bit handy, and he was good. Yeah, he helped me a lot.
When you built this house across the street here on Nelson Road, I believe I was just a year old when we moved in there. If I recall, I'm pretty sure I can still remember, there used to be an outhouse. There was no indoor plumbing.
We had a two-stooler out back.
Yeah. We didn't get the toilets inside until several years later.
No.
And if I recall, we never had a telephone because when Uncle Merv was in World War II, Merv Ketchum,
Yeah.
he used to call and they would come running down from Swankendijk on Oakdale Road and tell us, you know, that Merv was on the line.
That's it.
So if I recall, you probably didn't get a phone until, well, I must have been
A lot of years later.
13 years old, so
Probably at least.
around 1949 or 50. Because I remember Mom used to keep saying, you need a phone because you're in business building houses now.
Yeah. People have managed to get a hold of me. I was never without work.
Now, I remember having a lot of chickens up behind the house.
2 coops of them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And did you sell eggs at EJ's?
Most, yeah, to the workers and whatever. But your mother didn't like the chicken business very well. Yeah. Well, so what she done, one week, we didn't have no money or no meat, but we did have some chickens. So Mom wanted a chicken, and I never killed one in my life. Grandpa used to always chop their heads off. So this particular day, I got the block and all, and we had 2 nails or something to hold her neck, and I didn't do a good job. I partially missed. And he flew under the coop. Oh, God. Well, I got him eventually, but I guess I was a mess.
A little bloody, huh?
Oh, gee.
I can remember, you know, in the hard times that a lot of our Sunday dinners were chicken because during the war, there was no meat.
Oh, no, that's when we made up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because of the World War II rations, you just didn't
I had
buy
2
meat.
coops. At one time, I had Rhode Island Reds in the one, and the black chicken, Plymouth Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had 2 coops.
Your dad had a coop, too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Dad always had a few chickens. He always had a dog.
Oh, yeah.
And there was Chick and Chub. Chub was one of the first ones. Little brown dog. Good hunter.
They'd all hunt rabbits. I remember that.
Dad always had to have a rabbit dog. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to, you know, with Grandpa right next door, I used to follow him around a lot.
Yeah.
I never
Sure
forget.
did.
He made me a gun once when I was a kid.
Wooden one.
Yeah, he made it all himself, and he put this crank on it. It would make a noise like almost like a machine gun.
Yeah.
And then he'd go hunting, and I'd follow him around hunting. When I was
He, well, he had more time to spend with you kids than I did. I was usually working.
yeah, you had to work long hours then.
Yeah.
About how many years did you still work at EJ while you were building houses?
Oh, boy, that's a good question.
Well, gosh, we worked. We probably started EJ's around 30, and we worked 30 years. No, that couldn't be right.
No,
I bet you it was 10 anyway.
Well, it's 2 full-time jobs in here for a long time.
yeah. But you know, I used to run home at noon and call in orders, see what the boys needed.
I never saw you walk for the first 6 years I knew you. Every time I saw you, you were running.
Yeah, we had kind of busy days. Yeah. Well, here I am, 75, didn't hurt me a bit.
No, that's right, very good for you, good
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah, it didn't hurt me a bit.
So you were jogging before people knew that.
What jogging was, huh?
Right.
I remember he used to always take time, I'll never forget, where he was playing football way down in the White Plains down by New York City.
Yeah,
And you and Mom come down to that game,
yeah.
and out to Olean, out toward
Well,
Buffalo.
see, I come home that day and Mom was down in the dumps. And so I said to her, well, you know, what's the matter? And it was, God, it must have been 9 o'clock then. Well, I said, you want to go to the game, don't you?
Yeah.
So away we went. We get there before the half was over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mom liked your football.
Well, we used to have a lot of picnics when we were in high school. And always took the football. And
Always a football.
we used to, a lot of Sundays we'd go up to Cayuga Lake at Stewart Park there and
Yeah.
spend the whole day.
Do you remember me leaving you boys off with the boat? And then Mom and I'd go up, and by the time they got there, it was what, all of 7 miles, wasn't it?
10 miles.
10 miles. And by the time they got there, she had the meal already, waiting for a couple of hungry kids or so. Donald Nowers used to be with you most of the time.
Yeah, I used to hang around.
Yeah?
We used to go to Harvey's Lake too.
Oh, yeah.
whenever
Yeah, that was an annual trip in Naog Park in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot of picnics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was your mother's middle name, Picnic.
I'll never forget the time, I was really young, over in the old house. We used to have a picnic out on the north side where it was shady. And, I might have been 10 maybe. And of course the bigger guys around, Freddie Schweikendike and Chuck Reed. And
Oh, yeah.
it was earlier, before the picnic started, and somebody spotted a quart bottle of beer sitting by the window, Well, we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So they figured some hobo must have left it there.
Oh.
So we took the beer down to the creek, and we were tasting the beer. And boy, I remember we got the double for that.
Yeah, I don't know who started that. But,
Grandpa, your father used to enjoy his beer.
yeah, Grandpa always had a glass of beer. Not much, he'd just have a glass and that'd be about it.
Yeah, I just remember that. When I was quite young, we would sit around the kitchen table and the adults would be playing rummy, playing cards.
Yeah.
We used to just hang around and watch, and then, your mother, Grandma, would try to teach us how to play.
Grandma was a pretty good player. She liked her cards.
Yeah.
And Grandma Foster, she was a big German lady. And she used to have a pail, gallon pail. And she used to have me go over and get her a pail of beer. And Grandpa would come home and wouldn't even know us.
They sold it by the pail then?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
Where,
right out of the spigot.
is that on Grand Avenue?
Oh, that was on, I remember the place, it was down in a basement, and that's where they sold it, that's where they had a beer joint.
And they would sell it to kids then? Even.
Well, they weren't supposed to,
Oh,
but
but
they
they did.
used to sell it to me, and I was not much more than a kid,
Mhm.
but, them days, a dollar was worth $1. Yeah.
Which grandmother was it that used to tell the ghost stories?
Oh, that was Grandma Ketchum.
Your grandma.
Yeah. Oh God, she'd have them sitting around. She had some good ones.
Well, I thought that was, maybe it was your grandmother, but she's the one who used to live across the driveway. And used to, was your father's mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Grandma Foster lived there too. And then when Grandpa died, your mother and I took over his apartment.
Oh, that was on Grand Avenue.
Grand Avenue. That was $16 a month. and I had a chance to get a place up the street on the 3rd floor to save $1. I did it.
Yeah. Now, you know, that your grandmother, Ketchum there, that told the ghost stories, I can remember she'd have people spellbound with those stories. Just incredible. And I still believe it to this day that, you know, when the family was all there, you get those old card tables with the wooden legs.
Oh, God, yeah.
And those card tables, you know, you put your hands flat on the table and they would raise right off the floor with her talking.
Yeah, I don't know whether she just persuaded you or what.
No, sir. I remember when I was a kid, I'd be on my hands and knees looking.
Yeah.
And nobody had hooks or nothing. It was.
She was clever. Yeah. She was good at everything. She could paint.
That's what I was gonna ask you, who was the one that did the paintings? That was her?
Yeah. Eileen's got a couple of her paintings down there. They're not the best, but I thought they were great at the time. Yeah, Eileen's got a couple of them. She never gave me a drawing.
No.
I don't know why, but no.
Stop this hill we're doing.
Sure it's angry?
Yep. Now, you had 5 kids, of course,
Yeah.
and Elaine was the oldest.
Plus Sharon. We raised Sharon.
Yeah, Elaine had her.
Yeah.
Elaine was the youngest,
Oldest.
or the oldest, I mean.
Yeah.
Then there was Joan, and then Bert.
Right.
Now, Bert was Bert and Stewart, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. We better go back now. Elaine was Elaine Loretta?
No. Dorothy, isn't it?
I think it's Dorothy. Wait, I'm
Yes,
not
it is.
sure.
It
My
is.
mother's name was Elaine Dorothy Smith.
Oh, maybe it was this one. I
I
don't
thought it was
know.
Elaine Loretta.
Maybe it is.
I guess so. It's
I'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
And Joan was Joan Mildred. Where did the Mildred come from?
Aunt Millard. She was Uncle Gus's second wife.
Oh.
And Mom kind of liked the name of Millard, so
Mhm.
Millard it was. You know, I think she's still alive up Main Street. The last I knew, she's got to be over 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Burton Stewart. Stewart, of course, is your middle name,
Yeah.
and your father's middle name.
Yeah.
Is that Stewart a family name?
That's the last. I think it's a maiden name.
Okay,
Yeah.
somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
And then there was Eugene Watson, right?
Yeah, Watson.
After Mom's brother.
Yeah.
Watson was the one you mentioned, the big man that,
He was big.
and Harriet's
Yeah.
husband.
He wasn't fat or anything, but he was just plain big. And a nicer man you never want to meet.
Oh, I remember him. He was
Yeah.
nice.
And Harriet was always on his back. He'd sneak out and have a beer, but she had to know where he was.
I remember Aunt Harriet did some painting for you when she was really
Oh, yeah.
quite old.
I can show you some of, she was claimed to be awful fast, but if you look in that bedroom, see it was clear varnish, and 4 or 5 inches below the varnish mark is where she painted. She just took that brush and,
Well, she claimed to be fast, she didn't claim to be good.
well, maybe you're right there. I want you to take a peek at it before you go.
Now, my name is Alfred Claude, but I guess I really never did find out where Claude came from. You have any idea?
No. That's but just a name that your mother liked. Yeah. See, that was back in EJ time, but you weren't an EJ baby, as I remember. You come along after that.
No, I think I was born in Wilson.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, that was the EJ hospital.
That was it, them days.
Yeah, because he had EJ, like, you know, all of your children, EJ took care of their medical needs.
Yeah.
Bert was sick a lot.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Now, didn't Bert almost die when he was a baby?
Well, for 6 months there, he was good one day and bad shape the next, and it was that way for 6 months.
I know he had asthma. quite
Asthma,
bad.
he came down with asthma bad. I went after the doctor one night. Doctor, can't remember the name, but he was so bad for getting his breath that I ran all the way to the doctor's, and he had an office. Where was that office? I didn't forget that. And Dr. Lowe was his name. That's when they had EJ Medical. That might not have been his name, but he was one
There
of
was
the-
a Dr. Stocking. I remember.
Oh, Dr. Stocking, he had for all you kids. And he was a very conscientious man. Yeah, very conscientious.
That kind of covers the family. Do you think of anything, Dora May, that...
No, except you didn't talk about the music.
Oh, yeah, like... Your father was quite a musician, right?
Oh, yeah, banjo, any string instrument.
Mandolin.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course, Unc was good.
yeah. I think Aline still got that mandolin.
Now, I remember you telling me that your dad used to play for dances down here in Fairmont Park, where just behind the IBM Country Club.
Yeah, him and Lawrence Blanco. They ran dances down there Wednesday and Friday. Yeah, and I was picked to take care of the cloakroom.
Did you substitute on the fiddle once in a while?
Oh, no, that was horrible, but Dad would say, good enough, keep going. That's faking a lot of us, you know.
Now, why did you substitute?
Lawrence would go out at halftime, get voted.
Oh, who's Lawrence? Ketchum?
No, he was a Blinko.
Oh.
He had his problem with drink.
There was a Lawrence Ketchum from Pennsylvania. We used to go to Pennsylvania to visit.
Oh, that's Uncle Lawrence. Well, he was a cousin. He was Dad's cousin. But we used to call him Uncle Lawrence because he was so much older.
Mm.
Yeah, he was quite a character.
He had a gas station on the way in Pennsylvania.
That's right. Yeah, and his father's name was Al Ketchum. He was a railroader. Well, Grandpa Ketchum was a railroader too, only he was in the freight yard.
Well, is that where I got my name from, that Al?
Yeah, I imagine. Mom picked it up and all that. Al Ketchum.
Well, what words of wisdom have you got for your 75 years?
Keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
And your nose clean.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah.
Would you have done anything different? I think, to us, you've had a fantastic life, very successful.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, you were in politics. We didn't talk about politics.
Oh, we don't want to talk about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That was a bad thing in politics.
Well, so you lost a couple races, but
Yeah.
you ran for town union supervisor.
Supervisor, and I lost.
1960 something maybe.
Yeah, must have been about then.
And,
Oh, yeah.
You gave it a try for the mayor of Johnson City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember all the campaigns.
You know, you've always got someone behind you pushing, and they won't let you say no, even when you say no. They won't take it.
You were well known, you had a
Yeah.
name that was known all over.
Yeah. But then I've had friends come to me and say, you know, I had 2 jobs then.
Mhm.
You know, I was building and
Yeah.
I said, what are you thinking about? And I
Yeah.
wasn't really, they weren't my intentions, but I got pushed into it.
Well, it was quite an experience.
Oh, yeah, you can't put that away.
Yeah.
You get, and prestige.
You got to meet Rockefeller, right?
Yeah, I sat right across the table from him.
Nelson.
Shook hands with him, Nelson. Yeah, right across like we're sitting on the field over here. He's quite a guy.
How far did Rockefeller get involved?
He was governor of New York for a long time, and didn't he run for president or
He
vice
was going
president?
to.
He was going to.
He's going to. Well, Rockefeller family, you know, they had the bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, multi-millionaires.
Yeah, now you're talking. Yeah. So I did meet a lot of important people.
Probably not much you would change in your life then if you had to do it over.
Not too much. No, just correct a couple mistakes.
Of course, all your children were perfect, so there's nothing you would do.
I had 5 perfect children. I can blame that on their mother. She wouldn't stand for any tomfoolery.
Well, you didn't stand for much.
Well, no, I guess not. Not too much.
Well, you need discipline.
Yeah, that we had. And with a 5-year, wasn't too hard to keep. Yeah, straight.
Well, Oakdale was pretty much out in the country, and
Well,
we used to
yeah.
get in our problems with nothing ever too serious.
No. Well, you take old Oakdale School, it used to be 4 rooms.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it got bigger, and I think they made 6 out of it, or 8. 6, I believe.
Because even when I graduated from there, it was still 2 classes per room.
2 a room.
And the teacher used to just take turns talking to the 2 rows on one side of the room was first grade, and the other 2 rows was second grade.
Yeah, imagine that.
So there was one teacher for 2 classes.
Yeah, you remember any of your teachers?
Oh yeah, Mrs. Ports was second
Yeah,
grade.
okay. I remember her.
Mrs. Yale was 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah.
She was the principal. of the
And then
school.
principal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she threatened me with a rubber hose a couple times, but she never used it.
Yeah, she was quite a lady.
And Mrs. Yale,
Ports and Yale.
well, Holmes,
Holmes, yeah.
3rd and 4th grade, Mrs.
Yeah.
Holmes.
Yeah.
Well, the one that had Michelle for kindergarten too, you had, right?
Yeah, probably did. Port, not Ports. I can't think of it.
I can picture her real clearly.
Haskins.
Mrs. Vivian Haskins, yeah.
Yeah, she's still around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She must be pretty old then.
Any other topics you think we should cover?
This is the letter Dad got from the Section 4 Athletic Council telling him about his selection to the Section 4 Hall of Fame. It's dated February 13th, 1988, and it says, Dear Mr. Ketchum, the Section 4 Athletic Council takes pride in informing you of your selection to the Section 4 Hall of Fame. In the realm of high school athletics, it is the most highly regarded honor, and we are proud to include you in the company of some of the finest athletes ever to perform. The induction ceremony will be held during the sectional basketball finals at the Broome County Arena on Saturday, March 5th at about 8:30. We hope you will be able to be with us at that time. Please try to arrive at the pass gate of the arena by 8 p.m. and it's signed Michael O'Connell, Hall of Fame Chairman. This is such a big honor. This is the picture that used to be in the gym of the old Johnson City High School, and when they moved, they evidently weren't going to use it in the new high school, so someone called Dad and asked him if he would like it. It has the team pictures for the 4 years that he played football, 1927, 28, 29, and 1930. And down at the bottom are the pictures of the captains for those 4 years. This is the team picture from 1927. Dad is in the first row on the floor on the left. This is 1928. He's in the middle row on the right. This is the team picture from 1929, and Dad is the 7th one from the left. This is the team picture from 1930, the year that Dad was captain, and he's in the front row in the middle holding the football. Dad, is there anything you'd like to say about this picture?
About the picture?
Uh-huh.
No, this just the four on the bottom was Mike Winters, George Malieso, Charlie Pomiskus, and myself.
Mm-hmm. And where'd you get the picture from?
The manager of the Johnson City High School had me come over and get it when they moved.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was nice of him.
Very nice.
No, I'm not. But I don't want
We're
to
at the Holiday Inn Arena to honor Vernon Ketchum. He's receiving the Section 4 Sports Hall of Fame Award. Waiting to get in the room.
If you're going to be on camera anyway, might as well
Give him a call.
pleasant. That's right.
Right.
Why you kind of give into it.
Right? Said my personal critic.
He flatters himself.
Seated for the big honor for Vernon.
We're still growing. I mean, the last time we checked, it was 6th grade. Ever saw? We did that. I ran out of space. Go over the door.
I don't think so.
It's the Zoom. Where's everybody?
No, we don't have anything. Really, it's the one.
Vernon has brought the entire city of Johnson
Yeah.
who are all probably related to him. Just, as a moment of interest, I won't make you jump up, but great, I like that. Okay, John Kimball, John.
Oh, Kelly, guess what?
What, Mom?
That was David Irons up at the Dome Tuesday night.
Aren't you embarrassed now?
What?
You didn't speak.
Once or twice. It was unusual. Usually we see them, but not like this.
Look, he doesn't want to.
Zoom in.
Press conference. Well, folks, I'll tell you. Yeah. Here's Uncle Al.
I already got you in the picture, Tom.
You're moving too fast.
They're acting up.
I took it as long as I could, Tom.
So we're at the room waiting for the award ceremony for the Section 4 Hall of Famers. Big crowd around tonight. And we're waiting for the ceremony to begin.
Not high school.
Dad waiting for his call
He
to
was a
receive
top
the award.
athlete in UE in baseball, basketball, and football. On the gridiron, he won All-Stack, All-State, and All-American honors as a running back. Later, at CW Post, he had a spectacular career. He was a two-time All-American, had a 103-6 record. He was unbeaten 4 years in dual competition, wrestling at a different weight each year. He was a 3-time Section 4 champion. He attended East Carolina State on a wrestling scholarship. Dan Keene. And next we have Vernon Ketchum from Johnson City High School. Vern was an outstanding football player for 4 years and also was on the track team. Old-timers regard him as one of the most outstanding athletes ever to perform at Johnson City High School. In addition to this, 2 of his brothers, 3 of their sons, 1 of their grandsons, and last year, in the fall of 1987, one of his great-grandsons won football letters at Johnson City High School. Next, we have John Kimmel from Susquehanna Valley High School. John is a member of the Kirkwood family that has produced 3 outstanding athletes with great emphasis on football. John was a superb end in high school and also a top performer in basketball. He took his talents to Colgate and was a 4-year starter there. He also was a 2-year starter in the USFL for Arizona and Chicago. He's also played in the National Football League. Next, we have also unable to attend tonight, Mark May from Oneonta High School. Ken Goldberg will be accepting the plaque for him. Mark is a football player, of course, plays for the Washington Redskins. He's probably still partying. And was also a 4-year starter at Pitt. Next, we have Debbie Rush from Portland High School. As a junior, she won the vaulting event. Her mother will be accepting for her. As a junior, Debbie won the vaulting event in the New York State Gymnastics meet. As a senior, she captured the New York State diving title. She held the Section 4 dual meet diving record from '76 until recently broken. Debbie went to Ohio State and won a national women's platform diving title. Debbie's mother, Anna, will be accepting for her. And now, could we have a nice round of applause for all of this year's inductees? And I also have a note here that WBNG TV 12 will air at 11:30 p.m. in the Class B Arrigo EFA game, followed by the Class A Vestal Voltage game.
There it is, the superstar.
We're in the lobby of the arena now, and this is a plaque that, what does it say at the top, Suzanne?
Section 4 Hall of Fame.
And Dad's name is already on there. Can't see it, you'll just have to take our word for it.
I'm gonna have to look for myself.
Wow, doubting Thomas.
I see this is a good look at it.
Wow, that's
Lizzie, you look so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, the glass is correct.
Come on.
$10.
You know you want to be
How about,
Hard to find a neutral corner.
toasting? Doug, where'd you go? Oh, you're so good. Here, sit right here with the
One of each.
Sharon drives here too? Yeah, I can't find my coat. Can't find a place to put the chair. Is it in the
Yeah, that looks good over there.
Where you at? I think I put it on the chair.
Everybody in the kitchen, look this way.
Hold your glass up, I'll take it up.
What do you give it? Hello? Yes, there we go.
My kind of guy.
Those aren't shots. Remember?
Yeah.
I just like to say, it's heartwarming to know there's some good to come out of big hips and broad shoulders.
The best grandfather there is.
There we go. Now let's hear the marching song.
Great grandpa.
How about great? Who's gonna say great? Eric?
Eric.
Say great grandpa. Come on, toast to great grandpa. We had father.
Well, maybe I'll be around when Eric's inducted. To a great.
Does Uncle Murphy have a toast?
That's right, we didn't hear from the brothers.
Yeah.
We hear from
Speak
children,
up, brothers.
grandchildren.
Here's to the brother that bought me a new football every year.
All right. That's a kickoff.
Who said?
Okay.
Here's to the brother that bought him a fishbowl and he didn't fish, but I did.
Hey, that's another fish there.
I'll never forget that. Mom says, Vernon don't fish. I says, I know, but I do.
I've been fishing ever since.
Let's hear the marching song.
Which nobody can deny. Which nobody can deny. Which nobody can deny. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good fellow. Which nobody can deny. Yeah.
Jay, come on.
Dora. You got bird. Let's hear it. March a glorious victory. Row, row, row. He's got the marks to prove it. Show the marks. Show our scars, Dad. Look at the scars.
Eric knows there's
Football
not
scars.
much protection in those.
Whenever they come out with the real hard ones, then they run
We could go, they always call it Mr.
Say
Touchdown.
anything to you.
Anybody know that
I
one?
can know Marvin. I didn't.